every Monday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Join host Stephen Semanas and the NRP candidates as they amplify your voice.
Good evening, good evening. I am Stephen Semanas, host of Your Voice with the NRP. It is Monday, November 10th. Exactly 4 months ago, a strong Henley Park woman stood her ground against a vacillating Premier Mark Brantley. On that night, Thursday, July 10th, he lost the narrative and has been struggling ever since to reel the story in. He has left a trail of secrecy, deception, untruths, changing storylines, changing timelines. One columnist just called it the big bamboozle. Another strong woman from Brownhill this time is with us tonight to dissect what has happened over the past 4 months. We've got with us the Professor, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. Pat, welcome. Christmas music was playing as Carla went out of the studio.
Oh yes, I really appreciated it because really I have not been in the mood yet, Steve. You know, usually by time November comes around, it's time for us to start putting up Christmas tree. Not like long time when you wait until the day before. And so this year I'm just not in the mood yet, you know, and so I'm glad that I came to this evening. This is the second Monday in November, and so I'm glad that I'm here to get a little bit of the Christmas spirit, and thanks to Carlisle for putting on some real entertaining music just now. I was even here dancing.
I saw that.
Yeah, but we need something to lighten the spirit because we've been going through a rough time, you know, a very rough time within recent times. But before we proceed though, Steve, as usual, I just want to reach out and touch a few people. And I can't forget Montserrat, you know, so I need to make sure that I send greetings to Montserrat first off. So Montserrat, you're special. I cannot take you out of that special column. Good night. I hope you're doing well over there. I hear you're ahead of us in geothermal energy. But notwithstanding, we're going to still see how best we can all get to that point where we can deliver safe, clean energy for all people, and affordable, at least affordable ought to be one of the things that we take into consideration. And so Montserrat, good night. In St. Kitts, my cousin Sinwick over there. Sinwick, good night. And my colleague, Doc, good night. Good to have you in the house as usual. And of course, over in the USA on the mainland, Annette, good night. Twila and her husband, her loving husband, Denny. We have Hazel over there in New York as well, and Camilla, Keith, Ash, Leonie, just to name a few. I can't name everybody, and so I think they would understand that. And of course, over in the UK, and it is morning time there, and we really appreciate when people stay up to be with us, you know, because we know it's a sacrifice in time. And so, Miller, I'm reaching out to touch you. I'm glad that you're back in the UK, safe, and I hope it doesn't get too cold this winter. And of course, in the USA again, coming back, I left the best for last. My sister, my niece, and my nephew, they're there in the USA. And so tonight, I want to just wish them a good evening. And of course, to the entire listening and viewing audience, I really appreciate when you guys stick with us. And as usual, we'll ask you to please just allow us the courtesy of getting through at least the first portion, and then we'll give you the signal when to call in. But yes, it is a participating kind of thing. You're going to make sure that you let us know your 2 cents or your 5 cents worth. But we'll get to that. Just give us a little chance just to get to that. Huh? And so since Steve, you already set it up so nicely about what has been happening here as it relates to what we call the SSZ, let me just pick up from there. And but tonight, I really want people to understand, tonight is not going to be the kind of heavy hitting we're accustomed to. Because by now, we're hoping, and we've always said that this program really, initially, is about making sure that people are aware. And so we've been here time and time again, but for the few who are listening for the first time, we need to first invite you to listen to the presentation. You may have heard some of the stuff, but maybe it's a different perspective. And so we ask you to stick and stay with us and be attentive. So tonight, Steve, I really just want to address the issue as it relates to our people and the way they feel about this SSC. Because what I've been hearing, and it sounds kind of crass to me, within recent times people want to discount the fact that people have feelings, and you're not supposed to express emotions. But for some people who have no emotional attachment to this issue, I understand that. But we must be tolerant of those people who have strong feelings as it relates to their patrimony and as it relates to their place, their pride of space. And so I want to continue to encourage those who have feelings to express your feelings without reservations. Do not apologize to the way you feel about Nevis. It is not just a money issue. And women, I find, when we express ourselves, I like to say, well, they're emotional. There's not a thing wrong with being emotional. And so tonight I'm here to validate those people who have been emotional and just to encourage all Nevisians who dare to express their emotions over this destiny, to understand that you're not alone. A lot of us are in the same thing. No bother with those people who say, look at the economic side of it. Because from my understanding of government and my expectations of government, Steve, government ought to be addressing the socio and economic development of our people, not just the economic side of it, or else you see where we would be heading with this. All preference would be going towards destiny. All consideration would be to uphold what is proposed as destiny, or the little that we do know of it, with all the hedging and the hawing, and just to ignore the pleas of the people who have a vested interest in it because they live here, because they are native, because the neighbor string bury right here. And so I want to alert us that for those who don't understand, we are facing what we call an existential threat. What are we talking about here? When we say an existential threat, Britannica, we know we have different dictionaries and stuff like that, but Britannica defines existential threat as such. Britannica says it is a threat to a people's existence or survival. You hear what I said? It's a threat to a people's existence or survival. And so later on, I'll be able to point to and explain what I mean when I say that destiny provides us with such a threat. Destiny, I would explain, is an existential threat to the people of Nevis. Now, the Premier doesn't want us to talk about the SSZ. Right? And that is, for those who are not yet familiar what it is a Special Sustainability Zone Act of 2025 that was passed in the federal parliament. And that act had set out certain conditions. And it is what you would call a foundation laid for the very existence of destiny, which is what is called the project. Now, some would have heard the Premier in his condescending way at his town hall meeting telling people the project, as if people didn't have a fair understanding of what the word meant when he would have said it just as a project. He had to emphasize as if people were stupid or dumb, and I didn't like his tone, and a lot of people have taken exception to that tone. But what he doesn't want us to talk about is that the Special Sustainable Zone Act, which is what they now want to dismiss because they recognize that it's coming up against a lot of resistance, they don't want us to know that this was not a law that was crafted here or drafted here by our parliament. It was not drafted by us for us. This law was something that was tailor-made to facilitate destiny. This law was drafted by the Destiny Group. They have a legal team, and it was drafted by them, and it was just given to us and said, take this to your parliament. Whatever powers they use to get it that far, we still don't know yet. A lot of us are guessing as to how they can have that level of power already. Imagine you have a developer already dictating the laws of your country. That is very unsettling. And so they don't want us to talk about that. So it relates to the SSC. They don't want us to talk about the legal challenge that it is likely to come up against as it relates to its constitutionality. Because if you look at the Constitution and what it provides for, it really does not give the Prime Minister or the Premier the authority to split up Nevis. And essentially this is what the framework that has been laid by this Act essentially is going to lead to that. They don't want us to talk about that. The Premier is very defensive as it relates to that. So don't talk about the SSZ, he says, within recent times. I understand he was on his show, and the first thing he established, we're not going to talk about the SSC. He just wants to focus on destiny. Now, you can't divorce destiny from SSZ. If you break them up, that is a marriage that it seems like that is an essential marriage right there. You can't break them up, you can't set them apart. But he doesn't want us to talk about that. The people of Nevis have said emphatically at that town hall meeting, no, we said no to the same destiny project that he brought. And he seemed not to be able to understand that we do not want it. And so the people continue to say no to the SSC, and so he doesn't want us to talk about that. Of course, he has been coming up against pressures from his peers. You have people, and we generally call them legal luminaries, like the people of Charles Wilkin, Dwyer Asafan. There was even a colleague of his, or self-proclaimed colleague of his, in Anguilla, who has looked at what is happening in Nevis and has described the Premier as being rogue, as going rogue. And so it means that he's not conforming to what is normal. He's going outside of the box, and we need to start asking, why is it the Premier is going to such lengths? You know, trying not to listen. So when you said no, he says, oh, well, I take that as a yes. So his cabinet as well, their attitude is that people have elected them to lead, and so they must lead. Now, truth be told, we elected three of them. We didn't. You see the whole panel they had up there is listening or answering questions. Only 3 of those individuals we elected. So you're telling me that 3 individuals making decisions for 13,000 people without their input, and you're going to say leave it up to us because you voted for us? No. We understand that the last election was not a fair election. So had it been a fair election, I might be inclined maybe to even entertain that thought a little bit, to say, okay, leave it up to them. But it was not a fair election, and we understand now, in retrospect, why it was fought the way it was. And we understand now that people seem to have had an agenda, that they must have been back in power, irrespective of what was going on around, what people were saying, what people wanted, because obviously the results didn't bear out what the people on the ground said they wanted. And so he has said, let us not talk about the repeal that all these colleagues of his have been asking for. You know, all these people are saying, repeal the act, it is a bad act. And now, as if to pacify us, the Prime Minister has come to say that he has asked his AG. I mean, that is not even funny. He has asked him to tweak it. He has asked him to tweak it. Now, we're talking about a wholesale repeal of the SSC because it's a bad law. We were saying that from the get-go here on this NRP platform, the act is a bad act. When you look at it and what it entails, it is a bad act. And so for now, to get the voices that are joining us, people like the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, the Bar Association, I mean, everybody is coming out and saying this act, you know, is not in the best interest of the people. So you need to repeal it, because they are now seeing, as we peel away, layer after layer, and as you have 1, not 2, but 3, and going on and counting of the contradictory statements that have been made by one minister, you know, and sometimes even the same person making contradictory statements, contradicting themselves. And so as we peel over the layers, people are getting a fairer understanding as to the implications of this thing. And so we have called for a wholesale repeal And to pacify us, Dr. Jew said, okay, we're going to tweak it. That's not good enough, Dr. Jew. The call from the people is for you to repeal the SSZ. And so now the Premier wants to plow ahead and say, let us forget about the SSZ, because he recognizes it is likely to come up against challenges. So how is he going to get around this now? And so he has set about on a PR campaign to get people now to buy into the Destiny project. Now, what is destiny? What does it mean? I was on a very good program on freedom, and Junior asked me, what does destiny mean to you? And I said, in the first instance, when I heard the word destiny associated with this project, my first thing was, these people are arrogant, Imagine, for me, without consulting the dictionary for a proper, definition, I said to me what it means is that this is something you can't stop in layman's term. It is something that must happen. The things are falling in place the way they ought to, and nothing can stop it. It is predetermined. And so today, my memory jogged back to the answer that I gave Junior, and I said, I should have a little different, a little nuanced position now, after I would have done a little research today. Because this morning I saw Obi post or repost something that some Victoria person had posted, and it was referencing what they call the America's Manifest Destiny.
So that.
And this is America's Manifest Destiny. And so I went to Wikipedia, and I'm like, because I didn't do history, all the way up. I did a little bit of history, and then I got bored with it because that's not my line, I like the sciences. And so I quit the history. So I never covered this, and it had never come across my path before. And so I said, let me inform myself, because I like to read. And so I went and I asked Wikipedia, what does manifest destiny? What is it all about? And I was just making, I'm going to summarize, what Wikipedia would have told me. And essentially what it was is that in the 19th century, sometime before 1820, I think they said, you had these imperialists who held strongly the belief that white Americans were divinely ordained to settle the entire North American continent. Now think about that. These people met people there, When they got to America, they met people there, but their religion was directing them and telling them that they somehow should inherit this place that didn't belong to them. And so you know what happened after that. And so when I read that, I said, whoa, maybe I need to really reconsider the initial understanding that I had of destiny. It isn't just a matter of arrogance. This is not, it is arrogance mixed with or laced with some, callous disregard for the people who are here. I'm talking about hearing this. It suggests a level of disdain for our people that I never thought about before. Because now, to me, destiny is not just a word, but destiny has meaning, it has significance. And I had said to Junie, I don't think that this was coincidence that they just called it, destiny. It had a meaning. And now, like I said, after the research today, I think I've been enlightened. This is a direct attack on us. And Steve, if destiny, and so I went, I said, what, let me consult Oxford and hear what they said about destiny. And this is how Oxford defined destiny. He said, destiny is defined as the hidden power believed to control what would happen in the future. The hidden power believed to control what would happen in the future. So what we are looking at right now is the seeding of destiny, which is going to be the determinant of what happens going forward. It's not destiny to just reach and that's it. They have an agenda. And we have to open our eyes because this is what we would call ground zero. This is where it starts. You hear them talking about this is the first of its kind. It is the first of its kind because we have been so facilitating. You know? These people, I talk about the disdain that they obviously have for us. They don't think that we should even be here because they are mega millionaires and billionaires. They can just come in and they can just push us aside. You go over in that little corner over there. So that is what their strategy is initially in coming. They've had open discussions in the public domain about a strategy before we even learned that they existed. Before Carlin even made the appearance at the town hall meeting to ask the question of the premier as to what the intent was of the lands being bought in that area. It would have been about when I got a snippet, and I have to say thanks to Glendale. Glendale, I've been following your posts, and I encourage you to continue because you're educating a lot of us. Because he's doing some research that some of us would not have been privy to. And so something on Reddit he had shared on Facebook. And so these people are there openly discussing how they can take over St. Kitts and Nevis. That was in January, 10 months ago. In January. And they were not hedging and fudging. They said specifically St. Kitts and Nevis. So we would have been in the crosshairs long time, not just now. It didn't just happen like the premier said. They just had a submission to the cabinet or whatever of whatever project. These people have been working covertly for a long time and open discussing how they can move into St. Kitts and Nevis. One had a post that says, what could stop us from 15,000 libertarians moving to St. Kitts, getting passports, that is through the CBI. And they said, well, it's only $325,000. I mean, that means nothing. That's not change to those kind of people. It's just $325,000 to become a citizen, to get a passport. And then within 2 years, you can register to vote, and you can even run for election. And then what is to stop you? Because obviously there's nothing to stop you. People have been talking about guardrails. This is not, the SSZ opens it up wide and said to them, you can come, get your passport and whatever else, and then you can do what you want over in your section. So one person asks in the conversation that we were following, one person asks, well, how you can get that do with, 48,000 people living there? It's like, well, as if, we didn't matter. That is easy, that is not a hurdle that they even considered worthy of discussing on that thread, And so I need people to understand, and these people who are self-proclaimed libertarians, that is what that particular, community was discussing. And so someone said, you need to let people know what a libertarian is. But I don't know that I can consistently outline for us all of the ideologies because there are variations, depends, but I took a simple one that I think people could relate to. And so a libertarian, from what I understand from the reading, is simply a political, it's a political philosophy that is centered around this belief that the government should be minimal, that you shouldn't even have government existing. And so their position is that each person should have personal freedom. You should have personal sovereignty. And so nobody ought to be able to tell you how to do anything. You should be living in a free society without government laws and without government rules. And so these are the kind of people who want to come. They want to create their own laws. When we look at the SSZ, we recognize right there that we are giving them a lot of leeway, that they could create their own laws and bylaws in their zone. Now, I keep harping on the fact that these public discussions are so insensitive to the people who live here. It's almost as if I'm reliving, and I was not in that time in the 19th century, in 1820, when they were taking over the Americas, North America. But I felt goosebumps, when I read the kind of things that people are discussing, the disrespect for us, the disrespect for government to begin with. I mean, these are systems that keep us, and this dictate who we really are, how we live, our lifestyles. And when you hear them talking about the lifestyle, you need to question exactly what kind of lifestyle you're talking about. But of course, they're not for us defining what lifestyle, certain lifestyle they're offering, because maybe they don't want us to know. But when they start talking in the condescending way about our government and how governments like money, and so all they want to do is just, they're going to be, asking things about, if you can sell drugs or if you can, bring in guns or whatever. We don't, that's why we need our own space. Mm-hmm. So that is their intention, to do whatever they feel like on our soil. No, I found it so disrespectful. And they were talking about all these governments, they were surprised that our governments were so eager to accept this kind of offer. But all they have to do is just, they just have to sort out, just flippantly, they just have to sort out financial issues a little later. And so, we move, Steve, I don't understand how people don't expect Nivisions to be emotional. I just don't understand. When you have that level of disrespect, and obviously your intent is to move our people out, to crowd us out, to push us aside, to impose your way of life, your lifestyle. They didn't say they just want to come and to be left alone. They have intentions. Their goal is to take over. Their goal is to spread libertarianism. And so we are the first. And so that level of disrespect, I find I want to give our people. If you needed a license to get enraged, take it from me tonight. You ought to be enraged. When people think so little of you and your existence, you ought to be enraged. You need not to apologize to anybody for being emotional. Divisions, these conversations I'm talking about, like I said, they're happening in broad daylight. So if these conversations are happening in broad daylight, you could imagine what they're saying
behind the scenes,
behind our backs,
closed doors,
as if we can't read. They just put it out there as if we can't read, or even if we can read, then maybe we can't understand. And if we can read and if we can understand, maybe we can't feel. And if we even had some feelings about it, so what? They don't care. How could you offend a whole nation of people that way and expect to be able to coexist and live peaceably, and for us to roll out the red carpet like the premier seemed destined to do? Destined to do. He decided he's going to roll out the red carpet. And so these people are behaving as if we are dispensable and not worthy of the respect. I've heard all people saying, the town hall meetings, why is it that it is the NIA that is the front of this project? You're talking about the project. I can understand the NIA having a town hall meeting to discuss the legislation, which is this SSC. But for you to say you're not going to discuss the SSC, you just want to discuss the project, which is Destiny. Where are the developers? No, we need, and now you can understand why the developers seem to think that they can just sit back and order the NIA to be the front, to be the PROs. And so they would have lost respect for the NIA, and I understand that now. We understand. But you can't lose respect for divisions and expect to come here and just take over our lands. That ain't going to happen. So tonight is a night that I want to call out to our people. This is a time not to sit back and let people come in and disrespect you in your own lands. And there are some people who are for it. And we're not all going to be made equal, Some people are going to have difficulty in understanding some basic things. Some things are going to appeal to people. Some shiny things, Some people would gravitate towards shiny things. I don't even want shiny things in my house. People are on different levels, and we understand that. I don't have a quarrel with those people. I would try to get the understanding from them as to what it is the basis for the way they think. And so I would engage them in polite conversations if they're so-minded. But the thing is, the developers refusing to engage us. That is a reflection of what they think about us. It's like, let them, let those guys go do that, We don't answer to those people. they consider us a lower class because there's a mega millionaires they're talking about and billionaires. So they're not going to come and talk to us. They put out this, the Destiny video, which, people would experience that it's a AI generated thing. And I don't have that expertise to verify that, but I accept it for what it was. Somebody talking to us, not giving us any details, because I knew that I could pick up the proposal that Dion had made, or even go on his site, and he would say, okay, I have a proposal for a development over in Bushel. I'm going to start off with 35 acres. These are going to be single homes, single occupant house. And we're going to do 35, each is going to have an acre of land, we're going to develop, it's going to be high-end, blah, blah, blah. So it's at least 35 homes in that area. If we want to get excited about the jobs, it's like, 35 homes, 35 of us would be able to go over there and we're going to be able to wash dishes or make the beds, and 35 of us might be able to do the landscaping. Mind you, people with them kind of money, I can assure us, the least they would want to see us, the better for them. We have such a thing nowadays named robotics. I've gone to someone who is not a mega billionaire, but maybe a mega millionaire. I've been to such a home right here in Nevis, a house, and on the property, they have a robot that is going around cutting the grass. So they don't need me and you. They have those things, you program them, for the area, and they go and they cut the grass. They don't. All they have to do is program it, and it goes around and does that. So robotics are used highly in homes that people have money. And so for us to get excited and think that these jobs that, we're not even sure what they are yet, it's just talking down to us as if we're people who have lacked the understanding. But that is what they've offered us in the video, that Destiny. That is the only interaction they've had with us, through a video, not face to face, because we're not worthy of that, And so when we hear the Premier says, well, they're going to have hotels and...
Well, he said that previously. Since the video, he hasn't said that.
Well, I'm sure...
That was something he put in to excite people.
Okay.
That a man who for 20 years has brought none can bring three at a blow.
Right, he said he was going to bring 3 hotels. Well, maybe what I heard, because I usually don't listen to him directly, but maybe what I heard maybe was dated then. But from what I understand, he would have said within recent times is that, okay, they're having hotels, but they're not sure about the brands yet. What brand, brand they are, and they're in negotiations. And I think that was relatively recent that he would have said that. But in any event, we're not going to argue a point. So he is, the point I'm trying to make, though, is that his perception or what he is marketing is, I think, fundamentally different from what the developer is marketing, because the developer is marketing a Dubai style, what he calls a family-oriented residential community. And then one would ask, if the mega rich, other ones who would be occupying this, essentially be making up this community, what they are suggesting is that the mega rich, with the wide disparity between them on that side and us, the lower class, or on this side, the lower class will be going in to service the mega rich. And from what my understanding is, because I've never been to Dubai, is that is how the system is set up, that the ultra-rich are being serviced by the underclass. And so that is something to excite our 6th formers and 5th formers about? I don't think so. We're talking about people who are essentially going to be butlers and maids and landscapers. Like I said, the extent to which they will use our landscapers really might be even limited. So one need to step back with all the flourish and really understand what is being offered here. No numbers. Like I said, in Dion's case, he's a developer who has track record on Nevis. We see he starts something, he finish it, nice finish and stuff like that. well landscaped and all that, and we know people get work and all that. We could count how many. He could probably tell you how many people he is going to employ. Why is it is so difficult? If you're going to be putting down housing to accommodate 10,000, and we're not going to use the 15,000, that is the ultimate thing, it seems like, but we'll use the median, which is the 10,000. Why is it we can't get an idea that, okay, we're going to be generating 100 jobs? Why is it you can't say the type of jobs and the quality of jobs? But what I need our 6th and 5th formers and any other potential employees who have already indicated to Destiny on their website that they might be interested in being employed on the Destiny property. What I need first to understand is that our laws would not be applicable there. Here in St. Kitts Nevis, we have the Protection of Employment Act. And in that it guides us, the relationship. It's a mediator. He said, well, this is what, you can do and can't do. We cannot go over there with the same level of expectation. Sam, I had a conversation with him. He has a wide experience in, human resources, because I think he worked years at the Four Seasons doing that. And he said to me, these people, they don't understand. I said, Sam, yeah, I understand. And he went on to tell me and remind me about what is involved with the Protection of Employment Act. We cannot reasonably expect in a community that says all human interaction is voluntary. We would maybe go to arbitration, but that is not necessarily telling you that it would be binding. That if I go to Steve, you and I go to Steve, we have an issue, and Steve say, well, pay the girl she $20, and you decide in a free society, well, I will only pay $10. What recourse would you have? So people need to understand that if you go over there to work, and I'm not saying you should not, if it materializes, because I don't think it should, and I don't think it will, but if, heaven forbid, it still happens, and we have to go over there, we have to understand that if a man decides to terminate your employment, you don't have any security. You can't go over there to ask someone over in that area who has said that laws from government or any institution does not apply to him, that you need your severance payment. You cannot go there and insist that you're paying Social Security, and so he would have to match your contribution and pay it in, because the laws over here don't apply over there according to what the provisions are in the SSC Act. So our people need to start thinking critically about the impact that this free society could have on our well-being and our being, period. We have to understand the work conditions that we have here that are protected by law, not necessarily apply there. They might be better, mind you, but I'm just saying you don't know. That is one of the unknown. And any dispute resolution they're not coming to our court for dispute resolution. So these are things that our young people ought to understand. And I understand you get excited because this CCM has not been able to move the needle as it relates to the development, a sustainable development in Nevis, and for the provision of jobs for the younger people. What we have seen within recent times is that some people who are working for government, they are sent home before they even finish their mortgage. I'm hearing stories after stories, and it's not like times past when you used to be able to leave with your lump sum of gratuity, and so you can maybe pay off your mortgage and then start living a little more comfortably in your latter years. People are leaving civil service now and almost destitute, and it is, it's heartbreaking because some people still have mortgage payments and your salary is cut. If you're in 62 yet for the Social Security to kick in, you're at the mercy of whoever your debtors are. I mean, whoever you're indebted to, or your creditors, those are your creditors. I have to establish that I know the difference between the creditors and debtors. And so I can understand that people are getting excited and want work, because that's it. But this drive that the Premier has, as even he's so as if he's so desperate. He behaves like someone who is possessed. He must deliver on this thing. And his claim is that he wants to be able to provide jobs for you. From when the Premier became so concerned about the provision of jobs for our people, they have not made any real, meaningful attempt to bring any kind of investment, be it local or foreign. As a matter of fact, they have frustrated the efforts of local investors to the extent that for a while you didn't have much going on with, Dion Daniel, who is the main developer in Nevis, because CCM decided that because he's a Daniel or because he's related to the party leader, that they need to suppress him. In suppressing him, then he wouldn't be able to help us, like how their developers are helping them. And so we have a situation in Nevis that nothing has happened for years. And it's not because you didn't have the potential for growth. It's because these people scoffed at what was available and thought that they could just leave it high on the CBI receipts that they were getting. So now that that is being threatened, the desperate attempt now, and it's not just that, we understand the complexity of the issue. We understand it's not just the desperate attempt because the CBI is falling through. We understand that the Premier himself has a vested interest in this thing. If it falls through, the realtor would not be meeting the kind of expectation that she's likely to get, and so the golden parachute might just get a little tarnish. And that is one of the driving forces behind this push, this obsessive kind of thing, this desperate push for him. Ira McMahon, said it best. He said what the Premier is embarking on is reckless. It is reckless because it's not like he doesn't know. They are pretending that the information that we bring, that they don't know. They know. They're pretending that they have not done any due diligence, meaning they have not tried to find out who these people are, what their philosophy is, what their intentions are. They know all of that. They know all of that. I challenge any one of them to tell me that they really do not know. Because if I know, Steve is everybody else in Nevis know.
They know.
They know.
They're the authors of it.
And they knew before us. They knew who these people were. They know who these people are. And for them to say otherwise, they're lying. And so, to keep it, civil, I'm going to just hold on to the expression that Ira McMahon used and said that these people are reckless at best.
Our callers can't hold it any longer. They want to weigh in. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Manners.
Hi, good evening.
And Pat.
Good evening.
Historian.
Professor.
Good night.
Like what you said, they know what's going on. And if it fall through, they ain't going to inherit the kind of money they're supposed to get.
Right.
But one of the main reasons people don't understand, people tend to turn a blind eye, money being passed. And that's why he's so desperate. Because if this thing ain't work out, he have to give them back the money. And they ain't gonna get the money, and it's gonna create a big problem. Don't fool yourself, Money being passed.
I was going to get to that.
They've been working on it.
I was going to get to that.
Remember the investors them out there and they are just waiting. A rig election, the election we got, and he had to rig it.
Yes.
He had to rig it. Only now people understand why he rigged that election. That's why he went down almost a whole day and a half to get into power, because he don't accept and don't give them assurance. Man, these people here, me gonna walk over them. Easy. But I'm a word to the wise, these people, come on out to Brownhill and Friday. Come on out, people. This is not no Nevis thing, but CCM and NRP. This is about your children future. I remember we going but at them got the details to deal with. People got to understand. We passing through, but them got to pick up the slack. And at them gonna be the pain. People in Nevis, listen to Pat and listen to Abraham Chowley of Nevis. People listen and come out. Show solidarity. You can't let this man here take away our inheritance, carrying nothing else. These libertarians, they're desperate. And we have to put a plug in the desperation. Come on now, people. I listen out here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pat, you said in your opening statement, and probably it's the first time that you have said it, and that forcefully. The legal luminaries have said it before. Gaskell has said it before, that the developers brought this law with them. Now, in reading over the weekend, I found out. Let's take this call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice with Dr. Patricia Bartlett.
Yes, good evening, Steve.
Lift your voice, please.
I just want to inject something here. I know our country have groups, the vanguard of the society, groups like the Chamber, the Bar, the Christian Council, the Evangelical Association, the Conservation Society. Now, if these groups say to the Premier that he have to hold this thing, why the jumping troopers still persist that he's going to have this apartheid system in Egypt? So what this man be, a Joseph Stalin? He don't respond for nobody. He just want to do what he want to do because people elect him. When people elect him to do the right thing and not to give away people's sovereignty. So I believe, I don't know what to say, but this man got to be the worst I ever know in politics, the worst. But I hope Niviton will stand up, because when the land done gone away from them and them sovereignty, he's not going to come back. He's not going to come back. So I hope people will understand and stand up on this thing. Good night.
Good night. I was saying, Pat, that I think we can all agree that this bit of legislation was brought here by the developers. It was handed to our government officials for them to implement it. And I know you mentioned Glenn and the work that he's been doing. I remember when the Premier accepted an invitation to sit along on another station on a Tuesday night, and Glenn introduced the idea of Prospera in Honduras. He said, what has that got to do with us? They've been presenting this project as the Dubai of the Caribbean, or the Monaco, which we understand is 1 square mile. They want 2,400. In reading over the weekend, I found that Prospera and Destiny share a legal expert. His name is Professor George W. Bell, and he wrote a book in 2017, Your Next Government, From the Nation State to Stateless Nations. And this is what he says on the front, inside the front cover of his book. Governments across the globe have begun evolving from lumbering bureaucracy into smaller, more agile special jurisdictions, common interest development, special economic zones, and proprietary cities. And this is what Amazon says about that book. In this groundbreaking work, Tom W. Bell describes the quiet revolution transforming governments from the bottom up, inside out. Now, you've said that this has been going on for a while. Premier would like us to believe that he only found out about this in June of 2024. I take this back to 2017. This book by George W. Bell was published on September 27th, 2017, a few months after Mark Brantley became the Premier of Nevis. I'm suggesting to you that he nudged Vance Amway aside because these people were whispering his ears going on 9 years. This is no new project. You look stunned. And those who would like to Google this gentleman, studied in Chicago, worked in Silicon Valley, legal expert for Prospera in Honduras and Destiny in Nevis. His name is Professor George W. Bell, and his book, Your Next Government, From the Nation State to Stateless Nations.
Steve, at this point, I think it would take more than that to stun me. You know, I'm not necessarily stunned. You have made your conclusion based on what your research, has guided you to. Maybe I would have read the same information and come to the same conclusion. In terms of the timeline, I don't know if it happened as early as then. What I have an issue with, though, is, and I've heard that before, is the genesis of the whole thing. Because if we are to believe the Premier, it didn't start with him. It started with his wife. So here we're seeing, and I've said, I made a post and someone thought it was funny, but seriously, it's the same scenario we had with the Adam and Eve kind of thing. In that he's saying that is his wife is the one who introduced this thing, but he should have stopped it right there. He should have said, no, baby, we can't do that here. Maybe they could try Grenada. They have a lot of lands there. We don't have that kind of land to play with, and our people really value our land. And we have an attachment almost to our lands. Our forefathers, they had lands. They didn't sell the land and say, well, okay, we'll enjoy the comfort of what the money could bring us. They said they're going to leave it back for their children. And so for years now, and he's saying about 100 years now, the lands have been over there. And they've been going from one generation to the next, and we like it so. He should have said, no, we like it so. That is our patrimony. That is for our people. That is what we're handing down. When we leave this earth, we must leave a legacy. We can't just pass through like nothing happened. And so he should have said to her, no, dear, tell those people, don't forward with Nevis people. Tell them go Grenada with that. Because we are attached to what we are attached to. And don't think that because we are simpletons, it's because we have a value. We know that we're just passing through. But it means something to be a Nevisian. It means something to have a piece of the rock, as some of us always talk about. And when we decide that we're going to just divest, give all to one man or one group that has no attachment whatsoever to Nevis, that is a no-no. That should have not have been an easy sell for him. He shouldn't have to agonize over it. That should have been almost like reflex when she came with that kind of foolishness. We should think about Nevis people. You have any respect for the people of Nevis? You don't bring them kind of things to them and say, look, give up what your parents or your foreparents left for you, and leave it and to mega millionaires so they can come and live their lavish lifestyle over there, and you don't have any scope after that to expand your agricultural activities.
Let's take this. Good evening, caller. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Manal.
Lift your voice, please.
Oh, I am at the top of the voice. You're not hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but it could be better.
You hear me better now?
Slightly. Go right ahead.
Okay. I want to say to Dr. Bartley, this project was not presented to the Premier by his wife. He is trying to put her in the deep end to save himself. This project was brought to Nevis and the Federation of St. Nevis by nobody else but the Premier of Nevis. I also want to agree with Steve because This project, Steve is correct, started since in 2017. And one of Mr. Johnson's best friend, Ver, would have had a meeting with some of the libertarian crypto people. And he said that they are purchasing land from a foreign government to create the world first libertarian country. Okay? He also went on to say that in this country there will be no government at all, and that we have made those arrangements up front. Okay? And so what we are dealing with here, it's something that the Premier knew about. I believe the Prime Minister also knew about. But he is willing to sell us out because of what is going to run off the horseback or run under the belly. He's thinking about what his family is going to make. And so the people of Lewiston need to understand that this thing, Steve, you're right, has been in the works since 2017. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm not going to quibble over when,
Yeah.
because I do not have no time stamp on when what happened. It is true that, well, what we understand, from what we've been reading and what we've been hearing is that the crypto guy there, he started, purchasing lands here in 2017. I don't know when the contact was made, but like I said, this is not something that should have been entertained. It should have been stopped right there. Sin should not have entered the world if, Adam had said, and I don't believe Adam's story anyway, but, if Adam had said, boy, Eve, girl, no, stop it that, sin would not have entered this. And likewise, we would not have been in this purgatory if when the Premier's wife came to him with this Destiny project and these people, if he had chased her. Should have run her then. I'm not saying chase her out of the house, but I'm saying, tell her, put that to rest. Don't come here. Don't insult me, these people. Steve, I have this niece, right? And she has this doll. Raggedy looking doll. And her mother wanted to take it away from her and give her a new doll for Christmas. She said, no way. The child has an attachment to this doll. This doll has a name. It means something. You don't just come take away people's thing like that. Things that mean something. And so that is why I said tonight, I'm giving my people license to just be emotional about this issue. When you talk, do not bother with nobody about no facts about, do not distort the facts. Accept what they bring and, but if it is that you feel strongly that, this is where your navel string bury and it should not go to the way of destiny, argue on that point. It might be an emotional point, but it is a valid point to make. Steve, we have to understand that sustainable development, you can't just slap it on everything and think that it is going to pass. Sustainable development ought to be for the entire country, not just for Destiny. And the thing is, the way they've coined this thing, sustainable development on thing, the expectations are very few, limited, and does not necessarily align with what the United Nations Sustainable Development Plans or goals speak to. You're talking about just focusing on, they're going to provide their own water, or they're going to provide 70% of renewable energy, their own energy. Nonsense. We are talking about sustainable development for our people. It means that the actions that we take today to make sure that life is comfortable for us should not affect our generations to come, so they can't make their decisions then that will affect their lives and make sure that they could live comfortable then. So we can't compromise their comfort for ours now. We have to be mindful of that. So when we give away all the lands over in the south, even though people were not actively building houses and all that over there, we need to understand those were lands in reserve that we could have expanded our agricultural activities into. Because we are still not yet at the point where we are delivering food security for our people. If tropical doesn't come this week, you see the panic on some of us, and the faces of some of us. We go in rooms we can't find, we rush into Best Buy to make sure that we get there before Steve to grab the last of whatever was there from last week. We have to get serious about our agricultural expansion And so that is a prime area that we can do those activities, because that's happened before. We had active agriculture in that area before, and it can happen again. Where are we going to do that if you push us all up in under this mountain? It means that people are going to get back to where they have to put the. When I was growing up, we had sheep right there in the yard, next to your dwelling house. My neighbors had sheep and goat, and sometimes when the wind passes in the night, you can't sleep because it's, the scent. I mean, that is how we're going to be forced into living again. That is not right. That is not good governance. That is not looking after the best interests of your people. When we're talking about land for solid waste, we realize that there's a situation over, and Keyboy must apologize, I'm not there yet. I'm going to come see you. We have to talk about this situation that is happening over at this solid waste facility over there. But this is a concern. Even before this government had expelled, well, not expelled, but before she had resigned, the Minister for Health.
Hazel Brandy?
Yes. She was making an appeal to divisions. If you have lands out there that you're not using in a suitable area, we would like to get a piece of your land so that we can at least relocate the activities of the dump. Well, I don't like to say dump, but the solid waste management facility. They will be looking someplace. Where's the need to carry that, Steve? You can't carry it into the villages because there's no space left in the villages, not even for housing. You can't, there's no place to carry it. That would have been the prime area that you could expand those activities over there. It's not necessarily a dirty area, but that is an area that could have accommodated that expansion. And so we have to talk seriously about what are we going to do with our solid waste. You can't come on as the minister responsible for that particular area and say, well, we're going to have to be more responsible about recycling. Okay, we understand the benefits of recycling. But if you're anticipating bringing in 10,000 people or 15,000 people, where are you going to put their waste? You think they're going to keep it over in the affluent area? It means that they're going to be taxing or putting more pressure on the same dump site that we have now. And it's already at the explosive point now where it really needs redress, I mean, since last 10 years, I think, imagine that we would have already exceeded the sell-by date for that facility over there. And so we have to think also about the industrial development. We have people who are very enterprising nowadays. I see people are producing windows, doors, all kind of things, fencing, wire, all those kind of activities are going on in Nevis now. Well, before, when we were growing up, you didn't have, everything was imported. Now people are seeing the potential. Our people are more educated, we're more adventurous, we're more enterprising, and so we are doing things that require space for those activities to be expanded. Right now, over on the Long Point Road, that's where the concentration of this development is, the commercial activities, and so the industrial, activities. And so where are they going to expand to? If you section off the SSC area, how are they going to expand on those activities?
Okay, we've got another caller. Welcome, caller.
Steve, good night.
Hi, good night from across the water.
Caller, Patricia Bartlett.
Good night.
Steve, this is ladies' time. And we're going to clean up this thing. Steve, a personal question. I hear by your old shutting. He's citing the best. But he wants me to ask you to play the remarks where the vagabond Bartley made last week on Van Radio. As long as he family and he's all right, he don't care. I want you to play it before you go tonight for the old man.
Okay, I'll try to find it.
Yes.
Keep batting like Ben Richards. This is all your time because I'm now right behind you all.
Thank you, Jamden.
Mistress, Miss Daniel, she's a thoroughbred. As one the caller before described Mr. Daly as the guy in Africa, well, Miss Bartlett is the lady in Nevis. Because they cannot treat you all no more. And just like how we ridiculed in here, I go we ridicule this one down here. All of them know what's going on. In the name of money, they want to sell out the future, patch your money. The children, them patch your money. It's not going to work. Good night, Steve, and continue batting like we with you.
Thank you.
You see him a lot bat. You see how the bull used to go on.
I know.
Have a good night.
Thank you, caller.
night.
The caller who was trying to get in on the cell phone. Now is the opportunity to get back in. Pat?
Yeah, so I think I've said a mouthful as it relates to the potential use of that area for us, you know, if we're really serious about sustainable development for all people, for the benefit of all people.
Well, let me touch a bit on sustainability, because when this project was first brought to us, that was a basic component, but we noticed they've moved away from it. Geothermal, on their website, Destiny's website, they said that the development will be powered by geothermal. You know that Nivisions have felt that the Premier of Nevis has handed it over to the Prime Minister in search of funding. Now, if Destiny brings this to fruition, who controls that? We have said that that will be the ample replacement for the CBI, right? So if they develop that potential, because at first we were told 70% of renewables, now they're saying they're going to be powered by geothermal, and the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society has expressed, you know, they're not happy how 10,000 people will be drawing on our water resources. When they started, I thought we'd hear about desalination, but no longer we hear about that. Let's take this caller. Good evening, caller. Thank you for waiting and holding.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening, caller.
You hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, my thing is, right, is that you all are opposing the development. You hearing me?
I'm listening.
We're hearing you.
We're hearing you.
Okay, thank you. Good night to you, Miss Bartlett.
Good night.
I born in Browning, me a Rama.
Hey, Mama.
Yeah. So you all opposing the development on this side, but you all not saying what you all gonna do. You all just saying, oh, maybe if we get back in power, we put back the oil refinery. But you all ain't saying nothing, because look, from ever since I used to go Cane Bay, we used to run from Brownhill, go down and Donkey and so on. We know that. We know your level who calling on your program, Stoneman. Stoneman go down there and degrade down there to get his stone out of down there. And Stoneman live down there in an angry way that he call himself Stoneman. Stoneman call himself Stoneman to the what? You all need to say, if you all have an opportunity to do, what you all going to do. And you all need to understand that you're going into 26, and then you got 27, and the federal election come before the local election.
Not necessarily, but...
Just walk. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just like that. Mm-hmm. But you all focusing on just one little thing. Every program you all have is Mark Grantley.
Mm-hmm.
Who is talking about Mark Grantley? We're talking about an issue. No. Let me correct you. I don't have time to talk about Mark Grantley. We are talking about an existential threat to the people of Nevis. You, wherever you are, you may not be able to feel it where you are yet. But I'm telling you that those of us here on the ground, we are feeling it. I am not focusing on Mr. Grantley. What we have here right now is an issue that we can't put off to talk about next week. This is an issue that is pertinent, and we must deal with it now. We can't leave it here to fester. We can't leave destiny to get materialized. No. We have to oppose it now.
I understand where you're at.
But I don't have any time to talk about Mr. Brantley. It just happened to be that he's one of the persons who benefiting bigly from this thing, and so he was mentioned, by the way. But he's not the focus.
I have another question to ask you as well, because you know, in NRP party, I raised up underneath your Gigi boy, Frank Bartlett, and I know you as well. And I want to ask you now, when is the last time you vote for CCM before you turn now to go to NRP party?
Well, you have not been listening to me. Well, you have not been listening to me. I said that I would have voted for Mark Brantley in 2017. That is on public record. I never shied away from that. But by 2018, my expectations were dashed. When I recognized the direction he was taking in Nevis, I said, no, I can't support this. And I started to talk about it then. I was not in politics at the time. I've only now, I've come forward in 2021. But since 2018, I've been opposing what he has been doing. And it isn't anything personal. It's about my love for my country. He was going down a road that he ought not to have taken us. He was buying property to elevate. When the first time I had an encounter that we clashed on was when they purchased the NIA with scarce resources would have purchased the property up at farms right there.
12.8 acres.
Right, where Mr. Huggins' facility that was. And they purchased that intending for it to be a premier's residence. That's the level. At that time, I was like, boy, you can't be serious. And I spoke about it on Vaughan. So I've said, and that is public record, I've not voted for him since. I have no reason to vote. I don't vote foolishly. I vote on issues. I do not vote as if I'm, my brother being affiliated with CCM had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with any vote that I've ever had as it related to me participating in either the Nevis Island Assembly elections or the federal elections. I am not bought. I've never accepted a shirt from anybody. I've never been in anybody's party. I've never been aligned. I've always been not a libertarian, but a free thinker. And so I would vote accordingly. So don't bring the nonsense to me, because what you're saying is pure nonsense, respectfully. I do not vote as if I owe my brother something. My brother is well departed. I have to make sure that when I depart, Nevis is a better place.
If you want to call my question a nonsense, that's on you. But I got one more question to ask you, and then I'm going to leave you, because all of a sudden you start to get in a kind of hasty way where I don't want it to be.
No, but it ought not to have been personal. Why are you bringing personal questions to ask me? We're talking about destiny and you come with your nonsense. When the premier is on Van talking nonsense, you start getting upset. You tolerate that. No, so I would answer you accordingly. Look, let me tell you something. If you and I are communicating, I'm going to answer you the way I think you deserve the answer that you deserve. Because you bring foolishness to me, and I'm going to put you in your place.
Okay, caller, final question. Be quick, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manners. And as I said before, my name is Rama. I'm from Brown Hill.
Yes, Rama.
And you're back to the destiny. And as a politician, your skin is thin. You're not.
No. My skin is not thin.
You see?
But
you're not giving me a chance to
every place has. No. Everywhere has a.
Okay, caller, it's 19 minutes to 10. We've got some other things to do. 20 seconds and wrap it up, please. I think he's gone. Okay, thank you very much for calling in from the Virgin Islands. Good to hear from you. Pat, we've got just about 19 minutes, and I know we can get back to that. But it's election season in the Caribbean. Let's take this caller. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice.
Mr. Manners, good night.
Hey, good night, Montserrat. How are you?
Let me use up from the 19 minutes.
Yeah, man, we've been longing to hear from you.
Dr.
Hey, in Montserrat.
Watch me. Let me deal with some serious business now. Watch me. The SSV, the project now not started yet. But I recognize that the contract already done breach already.
Tell us so.
Okay. So let me tell you that the contract done breach. Watch me. Over the zone, you're supposed to provide electricity, hospital, water, and so right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but then Premier Brantley say that he tell the developers, develop, fix up our hospital, invest now with geothermal. And I recognize that the contract already breached and not start yet.
Yeah, we understand that, but something we got to take note of. The Premier has a budget to deliver within the next month. We're not hearing anything about that. But he got plenty funding gaps, right? He, ideally, would have liked to sign off on this before the first week in December. If he can't do that, all he brings to the people are promissory notes about funding for the hospital, funding for geothermal, funding for the port, funding for almost everything. His very existence as a politician depends on that. You there?
So guess what? Remember, if one party don't want default, remember they might go have to pay, you know. That's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that.
So now, if they come over and they need this now and they start to work on the hospital, do the geothermal, no, they don't have to perform that them zone.
Oh, I see the point, yeah?
Exactly. So then on the phone now, he already breathed. So, you know, when they got the town hall meeting, you know, Dr. Joe, me supposed to sit on side of Premier Brantley, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then one more now when me gone. Remember MP Brand, me supposed to do one hotel up there, right?
And Atlantic View Hotel, yeah?
Okay. And the hotel there, and that they me gonna the federal.
Yeah.
The federal cabinet, right?
Yeah.
So in other words, forget the passport money and them. Forget the passport money and them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The question is, the money ever pass? You see, me expect when they did the town hall, somebody is supposed to ask them kind of question there.
Mm-hmm.
For say MP Brand really get the money, and since and if he know what he do know, he do sell the land up there to Destiny. he condemn the project, you know. Can me ask Premier Brand that, but Premier Brand is say he don't know. I mean, and he can't talk for he.
Yeah.
He can't talk for he, which is me no better really, you know. Me no better, right? And you see how he just tries to shut me down.
Man, I listening to him every Wednesday. So you're chatting stupidness.
The more you me down, the more they come to so I listen now, because me, as long as me there, maybe tomorrow night we. Okay then.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so time is really flying along. We got 12 minutes.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's take this one. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice. Please be quick.
I'm very quick. Good night, Mr. Man, and good night, Pat.
Good night.
How is it, right? Mass Brantley is asking Kitty Shun to keep out of Nevis politics. But once NRP win and they decide to reverse what's going on in Nevis, Kitty Shun have to pay the developers that $23 billion.
Hey, let me tell you. Your Prime Minister is getting the message. Every time the Premier is asked about the act, he says, we ain't know nothing about that in Nevis. Passing the federal.
That's a joke.
At the start, the Prime Minister said, I ain't got no control over Nevis people land until Dwyer Astafan stopped him.
The bill was passed in the Parliament in St. Kitts.
Yes, well, the Prime Minister knows that if he affixes a signature to that, the burden falls on the federal government. Prime Minister will never fall for that. Thank you, caller. But I was making the point, Pat, that elections are in the air in the Caribbean. Today is nomination day in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Elections due on Thursday, November 27th. St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pear made an address to the nation last night. Parliament was dissolved in St. Lucia for election on December 1st. The people in Nevis already talking about elections. Some people calling for a referendum. One police officer at the town hall said, if you're so spirited about this, why don't put it to the people?
And that's just it. If you have that level of confidence that that is what people want, but his position is he knows that people don't want it. He doesn't want to test it and have the evidence to show that it is not supported by the majority. I've heard them trying to debunk the poll that was done by the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society. People been questioning it, well, why, and you should have been polling everybody and all that. It's a sample, and I've seen people trying to explain that to people who I thought knew better, but people have been attacking even those. But I'm like, I'm sure they know better. And I'm sure because they have the means to do polls, and they probably have been doing polling, and they know where they stand, they know where people stand, and so they will not release that kind of information. They know. They know what the pulse is, and because they've been taking, vital statistics, and so they know what is going on, and so they don't want to bring it to the fore that the majority of people don't want it. I'm not, like I said, people have different level of understanding, and so I don't expect that everybody would understand why is it we must hold on to this lens. And so we're here to educate. Rama, we're here to educate you too, so just listen attentively and try and have a better understanding as to what is going on home. And so the election is going to be called, but not anytime soon, because this matter ought to be sorted first, because they want to run the risk that they might not be there to deliver. And someone made the point about them having already collected. And so that is one of the other issues I want to address tonight, the matter as it relates to campaign financing laws, because some people are too diplomatic to say that they believe that they already collected monies from these investors, but we know that is a regular practice around here. People have been caught on tapes, offering up the country, just so that they can get campaign financing. And so these deals are happening.
Let's take this caller, and you've got to be quick. Please be concise. Go right ahead. Hello, caller?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, raise your voice, please.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Mrs. Barney.
Good evening.
The point, one of the points to make, right, is not even so much about the land itself. It's about the people who is coming there. Okay? That's one of my main concerns. Why does these people with money, right, always feel like money is everything, and the people that does not have money does not worth anything? Okay? That's one of my biggest concerns. I said it before on another program. They have so much money. Why don't they go and make an island? What are we as Nevisians? Okay? It's going to extend to Sinkers as well. But right now it's in Nevis. What are we as Nevisians? Nobody and fools, idiots, that they can just come and buy us out because they have some money, right? And we have a guy there called, we keep calling him a premier. He's not a premier. For me, he's just an idiot. Okay? He's just an idiot. And all who is backing him with this foolishness. That stupid guy that just called. Don't he listen to the NRP program with all the stuff NRP was going to do for the island, but was always objected by the system government? And they went to all lengths to stop all the projects that Nevis was supposed to have. All the preparation that was made by NRP to have the fisheries complex and all those other things, okay? They lose power. This foolish government came in and destroyed everything that was set to bring all of these good things to Nevis. What are these stupid guy calling talking about what NRP plan to do? And people like him empowering this foolish man to do what he's doing because he feels he has people like that behind him. And there's a lot of people like that in Nevis. Stupid like this guy. But that have us where we are. Okay? And we can't be afraid of this guy, afraid to call him out. Okay? Afraid of him coming at you, victimize you or what? You understand? People just gotta stand up. I'm sick and tired of it.
Okay.
Really sick and tired of it. Carrying this foolishness about my island, wherever I go, this and that on the radio talking garbage about people in the diaspora. Okay? I am one in the diaspora. I didn't bring my social life from Nevis to bring it here where I am, to force it on the people. No, I come here to live by the laws of this country. Okay? So when he's talking about racism, and he just, it drives me crazy when I see all this foolishness happening there, man.
Yep. Okay, caller.
The message I want to say to the NRP supporters, stay strong. Stay strong. Don't be fearful. Okay?
Yes.
Because it will come to an end soon.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, well, this and that is my friend. Everybody is advising him to stick to Calypso. Yes, Pat, so we've got 5 minutes, campaign financing issues.
Yeah, well, we can just brush over it, really. The concern is that, and I was saying that some people are too, politically correct to call it out for what it is, because you would have heard that after the long essay that we got from one of the persons who weighed in on this, one of the luminaries, he would have called for campaign finance laws. I mean, where did that come from? Obviously, he's thinking what you and I are thinking, that this thing is driven by money. And a lot of us, in our circle, are thinking that they would have accepted, because all of them are on the bandwagon for this thing, Tut Mum Bagay, all of them are supporting this thing wholeheartedly. And so it would appear to me as if the CCM would have bought, sold out, even before the elections, and probably that's where they found monies to camp, to fund the kind of campaign that they had, because it involved a lot of bribery, and and I've already cautioned my people that in instances where you find somebody is going to offer you a bribe, most likely, or more than likely, that person would accept bribes. And so when we see them brandishing a lot of money, walking around with a long blue bag and dishing out money close to election, this is payback time. And so that is why you see the kind of desperation that is going on, because they've taken people money to finance their campaign. And so the concern that we have is that once people are going to subject their party to them kind of things, those kind of activities, when they get in government, chances are they will be compromised before you even start to govern. And so by accepting these large gifts, you end up knowing that there's no free lunch, and you end up in a quid pro quo kind of situation where they already gave you something for your campaign, now you have to deliver. And so what we're seeing now is this mad push that we must deliver on the destiny thing. And so our government become too vulnerable, and too easily controlled by foreign forces and powerful billionaires, as it is in the case now. And so it puts us at an unfair advantage also as the opposition. And so the voice of the people not necessarily heard through the ballot box. Because when you have people going around compromising ballot boxes and, like they did the last time around, at the end of the day, you end up with a government that people generally don't want. Maybe the people who would have left long time, like, I'm not going to call no name, but one of our callers earlier, who have these, ideas, because he left long time, and he's just not in tune with the kind of tactics that are being used here. He doesn't understand what these kind of things expose us to as a people. The last caller who called, and I would have said, he was very passionate, and that's what I like. This is time for us to be passionate, and this is a call to action. Don't longer sit down and let nobody tamp you down with no foolishness. Don't get, and I do not apologize for being emotional or even shouting sometimes when it is necessary, because we have not to let the people drown us out. This is the conversation. We are fighting for our life existence, for our very existence on this island right now as we know it. And so we can't be sidetracked by people who come, with negative things. And sometimes people set up people, pay them sometimes to call in and be disruptive. You have to understand these things in the game, Yeah.
Caller, you've waited to the bewitching hour, so we can give you 30 seconds. Go right ahead.
Mr. Manos, good evening.
Hi.
Pat, good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to say something very quickly. First impressions are lasting impressions, huh? And these guys have come here and they've set across the table from those who purport themselves to be leaders, who are talking a bunch of nonsense and don't know what they're doing. And so they think the rest of Nivisions are the same. Well, we're here to tell them that Nivisions have come a long way, and we're not giving up or walking away from anything so easily. So this is done. Nivisions, come out on Friday night, support your own cause. You're not doing it for one party or the other. You're doing it for Nevis and your future and your children and grandchildren and sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, even the diaspora people who they want to come. You're doing it for everybody. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we have gone 5 seconds over, but there was a caller from St. Kitts who asked us to play something for an elderly person, and your wish is our command. I hope I've got it right on my phone. So here goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to advise those who may not have known that it does not matter to me one jot what people say. It doesn't matter. What you have to say about me and your opinion of me, that don't matter. Understand? Because when I go home, it is the opinions there that matter to me most. I live by me. You live by you. So you worry about who home by you, whether them like you or not. And I go worry about who home by me. And gentlemen, I am here to advise those who may not.
You're playing it. Yeah, so
Okay, enough of that.
Yeah, that is the thick skin premier.
Who live by you,
Yeah,
live
but
by he.
yeah, live by you, he live by he. Yeah.
Okay, so you did a wrap
so
up on
yeah,
the
I really
first
wanted
Friday
to.
night?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I wanted to do. But the caller, did make the appeal for people to come out and support the rally. Yes, people, we want you to come out on Friday night. We're having a rally, and this is not a political type rally. We're not going there to say, well, vote for NRP. That is not what the focus is. The focus right now is against the SSZ. There are still some people who are in the land of the ignorant who seem not to understand the implications of this thing. And so we want people to come out. We want to build the awareness. We're going to make sure we have some leaflets too, and we're going to make it as simple as possible so the average person on the street, would be able to understand the language, be able to articulate if they need to, in terms of trying to convince those people who are willing still to listen and willing to understand the whole dynamics surrounding the SSZ. The second to last caller Colin was talking about how he felt as an Nivision and having to go someplace else and conform to what the norms are in the society. It reflects really what I was saying at the onset, that these people are taking us for granted. These people have no regards for us, for our feelings. They think they can just come in and push us to the side just because they have money. And we need to stand up and show that we have dignity. We may not be bright, we may not be
Go right ahead.
Yes.
We've already said we're taking no more calls for the night.
Okay. So we may not have a lot of money, we may be poor, but we are humble and we're just generally polite. And we like it like that. We want to have our lands reserved to serve our purposes, to make sure that we can, when the time comes, that NRP could have sustainable development for the whole of Nevis. So like I said, my actions as it relates to the rally, I'm going to make sure that I go there not in any green, because I need people to understand that this issue of destiny, we can't bother with the SSZ anymore, because they seem to want to be able to push it along even without the foundation of the SSZ to back it. But we are rallying against the SSZ and destiny. We are taking them as one. For us, there is one and the same thing. There's 6 or 1 1/2 dozen of the next. So we are saying, come out Friday night. We're going to have T-shirts for those people who minded to wear them. They're free, and so we ask you to reach out. You can reach out and let me know what size you might want to wear. We're going to try and see if we can get colors in black and colors in white. We're talking about coming out in solidarity. We're talking about coming out to save Nevis and show the world that we may be poor, but we are proud people.
Thank you very much. It's 3 minutes after 10, and that's our show for Monday, November 10th. I shudder to think that we may only have you one more time for 2025. If at all, that's not the budget week and the other matters, because, we normally close off pretty early in December.
Well, the second week in December, I'm looking forward to coming back.
Yeah.
And if not, then, but I'll be coming back. If not here, then I'll probably come back if time, on Tell Me. I have an open invitation on Tell Me. So if I don't, but no, I'm not going to say my Christmas greetings now.
No, man.
I think we have time. The second week in December, we should be back.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Always a pleasure having you, Pat. Good night.
Good night.
Your voice with the NRP. This and every Monday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Join host Stephen Semanas and the NRP candidates as they amplify your voice.
Chapter systems are offline.
Number one for today's hits and all-time favorites.
Straight out of Charlestown, Nevis. Broadcasting worldwide on the internet at www.